Hey everyone, it's Vicki Williams, Tennessee State Broker of Epic Realty, and today it's Let's Level Up Friday, where I am interviewing Epic Realty's top producing agents and team leaders across the country every Friday and asking them to share their secret sauce and open their playbook to you. And so today I'm super excited to have my friend and my neighbor in Kentucky, Christy Wethington, here today. Hey, Christy.
Hey, Vicky. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for having the time to fill this in on your calendar and join us today because I know how busy you are. And so we're going to keep this short and sweet so you can get back to what you do best, which is helping sellers and buyers and agents. Because I know you're a team leader, you're an area leader, you do all the things at Epic. And we're going to dive more into that. But first, for those that don't know you yet, just tell us a little bit about where you're from and how long you've been in real estate.
Okay, well, I am in Kentucky and I'm centrally located in Georgetown, Kentucky, which is about 20 miles north of Lexington. So that vicinity, about a 30-mile radius. However, right now I'm the area leader from an extended area at this time. But we're in Georgetown. We have an office on Main Street, and but we Kathleen specializes in real estate in Lexington and Nicholasville, so we're not opposed to traveling.
And how long have you been in real estate, Christy?
I've been in real estate for 5 years.
Okay. And before real estate, when we spoke earlier this week, you told me you came from a trucking and logistics background, even owned your own trucking company. So, what skills would you say helped you win in real estate maybe faster than other people because of your background in trucking and logistics?
I'm not sure that it helped me faster because real estate is its own business, own industry. But coming from the logistics industry, I was able to bring over the knowledge of owning my own business and what it takes to operate a business, and understanding that as long as I'm trying to work smarter than my competition, good results are going to happen.
I love that. Smarter, not harder, right?
It's always hard, but adding that element to it is what makes the difference, in my opinion.
And when you first got licensed 5 years ago, what specifically did you do in your first couple of weeks to start gaining some traction? Because you joined at a time where COVID was happening. There was a lot of uncertainty in the real estate world. How did you
Yes.
how did you jump in with both feet?
So I didn't think that I had 2 or 3 weeks. That was my mindset. I knew that first and foremost, I had been delivering groceries during COVID, learning all of the areas that I didn't know in my community. And I say this wholeheartedly that I now sell the homes that I used to deliver groceries to. So through that process, I knew that I needed to produce quickly, and I wanted to solve problems. So, what was a problem as a brand new agent that I could solve? And at that time, it was a perfect opportunity. There was a huge problem with agents that did not want to do open houses. And so I became that girl. I contacted every producing agent that I knew, and even those that I didn't know. And I offered to do open houses for them during COVID.
And because of that, you saw a problem. Agents had listings where no one was holding open houses. You brought the solution and did the open houses. And because of that, you landed your first transaction in 9 weeks, closed.
In 9 days, I
Oh,
sold
not, I
my
mean,
first
9 days. I'm
property.
sorry, not
Yes.
9 days. You landed your first client or
I was
transaction.
first. Yes, I had my first property under contract in 9 days, and actually, the listing agent of that, well, and I can't take all the credit. It happened. I was very fortunate, but the listing agent of that property, she had COVID.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry she had COVID, but
Yes,
she was probably like, yes, please come help me sell this house.
she was, and she never dreamed, and she told me this later. I never dreamed that you would get a buyer from an open house.
That is inspiring, you guys. I love that story for you, Christy. So you got your first contract in 9 days and you've been nonstop ever since. And one of the things that we talked about the other day is how you really truly treat this business like a business. And we're going to dive deeper into that. So for those of you on this call, I hope you get some really good nuggets out of it and are taking some notes because Christy's going to drop some gold for you today. So you also told me the other day, Christy, that you don't buy leads. Instead, what did you do besides open houses to generate business early on?
To generate business early on, again, making those connections and trying to foster new relationships were two very difficult things during COVID. And so I also hadn't specialized yet, which we'll talk about later in this call. But at that time, I was also willing to sell anything that was considered real estate. So, another thing that I say is that I sold every trailer from here to Tennessee, and I do use Tennessee as my example. Um, but I learned as well. So I had my little tiny list and I started the communication process. It was small, but then I started reaching out to my sphere of influence. I started contacting people that were trapped in their homes, and that conversation would start with COVID, but then it would relate to letting them know that I'm in real estate and that even during COVID, I'm out here working. And fortunately, in that very bad situation, I was one of the few that was actually out seeing people, and I took that risk. And not everyone would agree with doing that, but it worked out well for me. So I contacted the people that I knew. I asked for help, which I'm not great at doing. And internet marketing was not on my radar at that time either. So I can't even say that I was using social media or any of those things. I was just using the skills that I had from business and applying those to real estate as much as I possibly could. And I had business cards. I was every person that I was delivering groceries to, I was putting my business card in a grocery sack. And no one ever told me not to, so I didn't ask for permission.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission. That's always been one of
Yeah.
my mottos. And,
Yeah.
we have a little bit of similarity there, Christy. So I'll just tell you, when I first moved to Tennessee, I didn't know the Tennessee market. I didn't know the Tennessee neighborhoods. I did DoorDash and I did exactly what you did. I wanted to learn the neighborhoods. I wanted to see where I wanted to work, learn the market. And that business card was dropped in every single bag too. So we've done the same thing. Okay.
Really, that's very interesting. I love to hear that.
So you know what that means? I mean, if anybody's listening to this call, it's like there's no excuses. There's no excuses. If you don't know your market, get out there and learn it. If you don't have a sphere of influence, get out there and find it. There's no excuses not to do business unless you give yourself excuses.
Exactly. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that when I had those buyers after my first 9 days, their problem was they wanted to finish some unfinished space in that property. They were going to use it as a rental. It was near the University of Kentucky, and they had decided if they moved in enough tenants, roommates with their son, they could afford to pay for it for him. And so I had contractors lined up. That was another thing. I not only offered three contractors to give estimates, but I managed those schedules for the buyers as well. They were out of town. They didn't want to be around people during COVID. And so I went above and beyond. I was willing to do the things that other people wouldn't.
Always be willing to go above and beyond and do what other people aren't willing to do. And that's a quick way to success in real estate. You've got to set yourself apart. You've done that, Christy, in Kentucky. So I love it. So we talked briefly the other day, and you mentioned it earlier about going all in, burning the
Yes,
boats. There's no option for failure. It's success or nothing. It's
nothing.
success or success, right? It's either I'm going to be successful or I'm going to be successful.
Yes.
So those are my two options, right? But you talk about treating this business like a business. Tell us what that means for you.
So treating my business like a business is number one, I take it very seriously. I'm going to make deposits into my what I call my business equity account. So if I'm not producing, then what does that look like? I'm learning. If I'm not learning, what am I doing? I'm applying what I've learned and I'm testing processes to discover what will work. Because if we're not doing anything, we're guaranteed to quote fail. And to me, the only failure, and I know it sounds cliche, is in not trying. But getting up with intention, I have notebooks everywhere I go, as old fashioned as that may seem, whether it's in my phone or paper notebooks or what I prefer. I have a list of things that I'm very intentional about, and I carry those things forward. If I don't finish those things that are depositing into my business equity account because I'm helping clients or because I'm taking phone calls with agents or prospecting in some way, I keep that list at the forefront and I don't ever just put it to the side and not complete it. So I think not only do you have to have a plan, you're going to complete those plans. A plan that's not in action is just something you've written on a page.
And you don't just cross it off for the sake of crossing it off. Until you've done it, it stays on your list.
No. Yes. And
That-
you'll
yeah.
learn what works by doing. I'm a doer.
And I've talked before about you're a doer. I love that. I've talked before about how being your own boss, being self-employed is a double-edged sword because we can give ourselves permission to take time off. We can give ourselves permission to scratch something off, even though we didn't do it, because who's holding us accountable? And that's another huge thing about success in real estate is accountability.
Right.
what are your thoughts around accountability, Christy?
So being motivated, being determined, giving yourself permission, all of those things boil down to what? Those are choices. So making that choice every single day that I'm going to show up, not just for my business, but for myself. I decided a long time ago in leadership that I'm going to show up for myself, which means I've set a standard. And that standard for me is that I'm not going to give myself permission to quit, to give up, to buy into those excuses. Not that those days don't happen, but when they do, I have a support system. Kathleen is on this call. She is 95% of the time my first call in those situations because whether I'm really upset or really excited, we have a wonderful working relationship in that we share in all of those things. And I think you also, as a business owner, you need that person. You need someone in your corner. You need someone that you trust to seek advice from.
And who won't sugarcoat it, who won't let you off the hook because they like
No,
you. Yeah.
no,
Because that's not really
no.
helping, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your day to day look like? Can you tell us a little bit about your daily routine and what are your daily non-negotiables?
So I can't say that I have this regimented schedule, Vicki, that it from 8 to 9 a.m. I'm working out from 9 to 10. It's not that way for me because I realize that that's just not going to work on a regular basis for me. So whether my day starts a little earlier or a little later, I know that I'm coming from a place of authenticity to myself. Maybe I needed to rest that morning. Maybe I needed to do something for my family that morning. But when I show up for work, again, I have my list, I'm intentional, I have a plan. But I won't say that you have to be the most regimented person. In fact, I think you have to be more flexible than most careers. You have to be willing to pivot and adapt. And the main thing for me is that I make myself available, whether I have a schedule or not. If a client or an agent or my family needs me, I'm going to drop everything else. And I think that's another skill set that you have to have as a business owner. you have to make yourself available. My agents know that I'm not going to be too busy. It might take me 30 minutes to get back with them, but they're going to hear from me and they're going to know that I value their time. And in the same regard, it's setting a standard because they value mine. If I need something from them, they call me back, they text me back, they email me back. So I think it's reciprocal.
Exactly. So, I'm gonna, for the agents on this call right now that are maybe struggling, maybe they're kind of stuck at a couple of transactions, maybe they're starting to feel a little defeated. And then I'm gonna go back to some other more deeper questions, but I want to pause and just ask you this burning question that I ask everybody. What's the
Okay.
simplest do this first plan you would give them for the next 7 days? If they're feeling stuck, unmotivated, ready to quit this industry, what should they do for the next 7 days?
I think initially they need to ask themselves some tough questions. Self awareness is also very important in being a business owner. You have to step back and ask yourself, are you doing everything? Why do you feel frustrated? Why do you feel defeated? Is that your mind? Do you feel defeated easily? Are you the first one to give up or are you the last one to leave? Are you the first one in the building and the last one to leave? If not, you have to start setting a standard for yourself and making that decision to be disciplined. Discipline is a decision. And I can be very honest about it and say, it's always had to be a decision for me. I'm not necessarily the most disciplined person, and people would not believe that because anything I set my mind to, I achieve it, but it's because I make those choices. So ask yourself the hard questions, make a list. What have you done? Look back at your business and reflect on how far you've come. And the minute you get ready to quit, you really have to decide, are you quitting because you think there's a better opportunity, or are you quitting because you don't want to do the work it requires to be successful in real estate? Or if you've done every single thing, if you've sought counsel that you trust, if you've made the lists, if you've exhausted every resource, and I'll just say this, I think our greatest resource at Epic are our people, our leadership. We can have all the tools in the world, but oftentimes we don't feel, especially for those that do have other jobs and other commitments, they might not feel like they have 3 weeks to sit down and learn a new system. But I can guarantee you they can pick up the phone and they can call one of us and we will be willing to help them, even if they have to get on our schedule, even if they're not used to asking for help. I think before you quit, you have to ask yourself the tough questions. Are you doing everything that you can do? And are you listening to those of us that are willing to give you advice?
Which, when we talked this week, you said that that's one of, and it's one of mine too, one of our biggest frustrations in leadership. And one of the things that we see agents make this mistake over and over again, right, Christy?
Yes.
Where tell us a little bit about that. But I know what you're going to say, but tell the people on this call, it's a trap. It's a mindset trap that new agents or struggling agents get into. So what is it, Christy?
It could be a few things. It could be, if someone's personality is that they don't want to learn, I can't for the life of me understand why they would sign up for real estate, because I am a forever student. Hopefully each day I will learn something from someone. And Kathleen and I can both speak to this. We've both had new agents that we brought on, and it was our first. We have a mentorship program within our team where if I mentor you and you're my mentee, the goal at the end of that, we don't want people to stay on our team forever. We want to train them to become leaders, to start their own teams. And so when you have your very first one, you take it so seriously. I know both of us did, and I can only speak for Kathleen on that part. She can elaborate. But we bring agents in and we devote our time. We have an off book schedule for training that coordinates with Epic's onboarding training. And we've both seen agents do the opposite. We know that we did everything we could do. We poured into them. We suggested, we showed, we proved, you know, all the things we could possibly do. And they turned around and one I had to fire from our team because she was so argumentative and she knew better. She had never sold a property in Kentucky a day in her life. And we made the decision for Kathleen to mentor her because I knew with my personality that just wasn't going to work. We knew that she could be problematic from the beginning, and I'm much more direct, and I come from corporate and it shows sometimes. Therefore, Kathleen was a perfect teacher for her. She refused to listen. She had something to say negative about any and everything she didn't know. And she got her results. She failed. And she chose that failure. Now we have other agents that I have mentored, and they have the greatest of intentions, but they haven't gotten intentional about real estate. Do I, some degree? Yes. I know what I've taught them, but have I seen them apply that knowledge? Not necessarily. I will say I've seen them apply some of the things to their own personal lives as far as setting boundaries and having a standard for themselves. But I will also add that everyone's process and everyone's timeline is different. And as long as they're committed and say that they want to be part of this, we want that for them. But there are those that will never listen, and eventually we have to make that decision for them. And then there are those that are still on their journey, and we will be alongside them. You and I discussed this other day. We're having people come back right now with the new year, setting their new goals. And I'm looking forward to that, to see how the things that I've learned since I've been with Epic and since I've been a broker will help them in the future.
Yes, it's a simple business, but it's not an easy business. And sometimes agents will tend to take the simple steps and try to overcomplicate it, or they'll think this is too easy and they want to make it like super hard. And instead of just doing, okay, these are proven metrics. We know if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are
Yes.
your results, but they want to do everything but those five. And so it's not like mentors know everything. And there are so many different ways in real estate to find success, but there are some basic things that if you just follow the steps, you will find success. One of them is just having conversations. You have to have conversations to have transactions. There's no other way around it. And a lot
Yep.
of times agents want to do everything but have a conversation with somebody else. Like, well, this may not be for you then, right? Um, so, well, when we talked also, this is a little tidbit I really want the agents on this call to hear today. You have a secret success strategy, a powerful strategy around marketing and building momentum for your listings. I want to kind of pivot back now to why you enjoy working with sellers. And it's because you have a strategy you've built that you haven't found very many people in your market taking full advantage of. So you've really kind of maximized on that opportunity for yourself. What are those steps and how can other agents duplicate what you're doing successfully in Georgetown to list and sell properties and build those strong relationships with sellers?
That's a great question. And as we mentioned briefly earlier, using the tools in front of us, sometimes it's as clear as the nose on our face kind of thing, and we're just not doing it. And that was something that I realized early on with listings. We have a coming soon form, and that coming soon process gives us up to 14 days to market that property. And there's different schools of thought of what that form actually says, because our form has been updated and it actually says that based on how it reads, we're not necessarily supposed to even be marketing them. We know we can't show the property or it has to go live within 24 hours. Anyway, it's allowed in our market at this time. And for years now, I have utilized the coming soon to my client's advantage. And I explain that to them up front. During our listing meetings, we will discuss what works best for them and how I want to run this marketing platform and the reasons why, the results I've seen. And the coming soon allows me to do that. It allows me to build that momentum. I am creating a demand that might otherwise not be there. So whether it's sending the information out to a group of agents that I know are looking for those types of properties, to my sphere of buyers that are pre-approved and or that have mentioned getting pre-approved, I am sending them those emails, the texts. I also make it a habit to contact at least 100 people a week via text, email, phone call, in person, and whatnot. And it's probably well above that at this point. But when a coming soon property hits, I make sure that any and everyone knows about it. And as a team, we now is all that information coming from me, but they're seeing it. I use Lofty's marketing social platforms for everything I can, but as many people as I can get that property in front of, that's exactly what I do. And that 14-day period led to me having one of, if not the lowest days on the market in my state. And I would use that as part of my marketing. I have the lowest days on the market in my state. And for the longest time I did. And I won't talk about the transaction that blew that, but for over 4 years, that process worked really well for my sellers and for me because I was able to use that as a one little thing that I offer. And I knew that I had to maintain that standard. Sometimes it was just by the skin of my teeth, but had I not done the preliminary coming soon marketing, it wouldn't have happened.
So when you go on a listing appointment, just to summarize it, when you go on a listing appointment, most sellers want to say, hey, I want to get my house on the market. I want to have showings starting this weekend. I'm ready to sell. And you say, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. What a better strategy is, let's have it coming soon for 2 full weeks. Let's build momentum. Let's
Up
get
to,
buyers up to 2 full weeks. We can always go live sooner if we need to, but build
yes,
that momentum up so that the day you go live, you have scheduled showings. So you know you're going to have some activity. It's going to build momentum and it's possibly going to lead into a multiple offer situation, which it has for you many times.
it has many, many times.
Yeah. And I like that, right? Because when I work with sellers and you get excited, you put a house on the market, you go live on a Friday, and then you don't have any showings for 2 weeks, and you're like, oh man. But this buildup, that is, Mindy's over there nodding her head too. She's about to list a house, so she's probably thinking, I might need to do this. So that's a great strategy. I love that you shared that with us. 12:34. I'm looking at the time. So what do you think? Going to social media, let's switch gears to social media real quick. I know that when we talked about social media, you said that Facebook is kind of your sweet spot.
It is.
You have consistently built up huge views on your social media, on your Facebook. Tell us a little bit about that and what kind of content do you think is driving that visibility, and how do you convert that visibility into clients?
The way I convert that visibility into clients is I use my marketing on Facebook specifically with the intent of not gaining a buyer, but creating an audience. I use my marketing to attract, to support, to contribute to, and become a resource. Also, to be seen as credible as that resource. So, am I the expert in every conversation? No, I seek advice from my audience because people love to give their opinions on social media, whether they're positive or negative. So more than anything, I am seeking to engage my audience and staying top of mind in front of them. So combining that with other strategies like the coming soons and the participating in community events and being in the know about my community, in addition to being hyper localized, which I'm not hyper localized, I'm hyper specialized. So if it has something to do with my specialty, I am posting about it. I flip, I'm a licensed general contractor. I manage investment portfolios, and those were just a natural progression for me, because I came from managing high volume revenue in my previous careers. And I've applied those things that do what you know. I knew how to manage money, I know how to earn money, and I love to flip houses. So when I'm seen as a resource in that realm of real estate, and I have that credibility because I've done the work, I have the results of doing flips, I have the results of showing people how I've made investors money, then I am a lot of people's first phone call when they have investment properties to sell. And I can honestly, I will say I have earned that. So I take pride in that, and I'm proud of that.
So you're not out there saying who wants to buy a house, who wants to sell a house. That's not your marketing strategy. Your marketing strategy is more being the go-to
No, I mean,
person. Yeah.
unless it's really lighthearted and some funny meme, we make a second job of sending each other funny content privately. And sometimes, I think it's okay to people know that I love to laugh and I love to have a good time. And I'm just very genuine and as authentic as I possibly can be, while also being a very private person. I think if you apply those things to your marketing, you're going to see the results. Just don't be afraid to look silly. I say post a video and then never look at it again.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, two more quick questions, and then I'd love to open it up to some collaboration or questions from the people on the call today. So
Yes.
you have built quickly in 5 years, you've achieved your broker's license, you've opened an office, you have started a team, you are in leadership at Epic. What's one thing that you wish you'd had known before stepping into leadership and what you may would do differently if you were to start over?
So I don't know that I would do anything differently, because I feel like every single step that we have to go through, I think that's a misconception a lot of agents have, that they have to know everything right now, they have to do everything the right way. I would just suggest that you're not afraid to try to. That's how we learn. When something doesn't work, it doesn't mean that we failed. It just means that we need to try something else. So I don't know that I would have changed my process. I will say that being with Epic and being a broker and an area leader for Epic has taught me so much about reaching out to people that have been there before me, not being afraid to ask questions, not feeling like there's a lot of competition in corporate America where if you don't know everything, then you're going to feel really stupid if you ask your peers a question. And that's ridiculous. But I think in real estate, a lot of people, I call it, suffer from that mindset. And I think number one, we just have to have the mindset that we're going to learn everything we can. We're going to apply the things that we've learned, and we're going to listen to people that we can clearly see their success. I could list 10 names just right now, rapid fire, from our company that I pay attention to what they're doing. And I'm constantly trying to learn every single day. And if you're doing that, I think you're setting yourself and your business and your clients up for great results.
It makes me want to cry. That is so, I hear the sentiment in your voice when you say that. Like you really mean that. And I can tell. Okay, last
Absolutely.
question, then we're gonna open it up. So This call is called Let's Level Up, and it's about leveling up, whether you're a brand new agent trying to get your first couple deals, maybe you're hovering around 60, you're trying to get to 12 or try to cap or hit power agent. Christy, I want to know, what do you want to do to level up this year, and what are you going to do to get there?
So this year, I'm going to utilize the tools, the platforms, the CRMs, the templates, all of those things that I spent so much time learning because I'd never had a CRM before. There's another thing. I was of the mindset that mind can really cause you problems when it's the wrong mindset. I thought I would never need a CRM. I didn't, want to do the work. But this year will be applying all the things that I've learned and learning from my team. I've learned to listen to clients more. I've learned to listen to my team more. The more we listen, the more we learn. So I'll be listening, I will be applying, and my goal is to be a power agent this year. I think that's very doable. And, you know, I think that applying that with people like you and Mindy and all of our other mentors out here, it's a great goal and it's certainly attainable when we set our minds to it.
Mindset is everything. And for those of you that haven't ever been on one of my mindset calls, you're all invited. It's every
I know
Monday
we
morning at 8:30 Central, same link. It's 30 minutes. It's quick and easy. So come and get your mindset on. It's so critical in real estate to be around people who are positive, who stay focused, and who are intentional. So thank you, Christy, for being my guest today. I would love to open it up to anyone who has something they'd like to say or ask with Christy today. And while we're waiting on someone else, I just want to tell you what I got out of this call real quick, Christy. The coming soon, I have never used it in the way you use it. I've used it when I've had to use it. When my clients weren't ready to go on the market. So I was like, well, let's get it coming soon. And then, you know, or when I was waiting for something, waiting for professional photos or waiting for this or that. I've never intentionally used that strategy, but I love it. And I'm going to start it and let you know how it goes because that's something I've been in this business, guys, for over 30 years. I hate to say that because it sounds like I'm coming from a point of bragging, but what I'm saying is I survived this business for 30 years, but I still learn every day. I learn from agents who've been doing this 5 years. I learn from agents who've been doing this 2 years. I don't come to this table saying I know everything, and I never will because I learned so much. And then what I do is I take what I learned and I implement it. I use it. I try it. It may not work for me, but if someone else is doing it successfully and saying, this is how I found my success, I would be a fool not to try it myself, right? Like, try it. Dawn, you
Yeah,
got your hand up. Go ahead, Christy. Go ahead and respond, and then we'll call on Dawn.
I would just add to that, you don't have to worry about your signs not being in or this not being done or the wall being painted or the whatever the reason you could worry when you are getting ready to list a property. That 14-day window gives everybody time to get there instead of feeling like, oh, we have to do every single thing on Friday night. I did that initially, and I was setting a tone of stress for my clients instead of telling them how it's going to be and what it's going to look like and the results and what they can expect. I set that expectation and that standard so that everybody was on the same page. And it does require something of you. It requires you to produce the result that you promise. So don't overpromise. We don't overpromise and underdeliver. But I assure you, you will be so glad that you tried it. And I love that we can share things like that because I've definitely learned so much from you.
And I do want to say also, real quick, thank you, Christy, that be sure to check your MLS rules, your state rules. Not every MLS, not every state has the same rules around coming soon. So know your rules before you try something like that.
Yes.
Dawn, what do you have to ask Christy today?
Well, she mentioned when she first was getting started that she did a lot of open houses, and I'm one of the obviously, I love to do the open houses, but I would like to know if there was something specific that she chose to do that helped attract attention to the open house, like to draw more attendees, to like capture that, um, that capture basin, to drive more traffic to the open house.
Well, thank you, Dawn, for that question. And I'll, again, complete transparency here. When I first started doing open houses, I was winging it. I was literally winging it. But since that time, there's a large school of thought from people that open houses don't work, that open houses are dead. And I will say that the only open houses that don't work and that are dead are the ones you're not doing. And I think giving yourself time to prepare for that open house when I do that coming soon in my MLS, I can go ahead and put in my personal marketing that that open house will happen the Saturday that my property goes live. And so I coordinate that in unison with my other strategy. Second to the coming soon strategy, we always, and Kathleen can speak on this as well, we always have a plan for our property, or if it's a very rural property, we have to make those judgment calls. But aside from that, and we also like to level up our open houses. We have the electronic sign-in sheets now that are really cool. We are very intentional about those sign-in sheets. We make sure that we get the information so that we can follow up. So it's your follow through and your follow up in whatever order that needs to be in, whatever you're doing. But with open houses specifically, we are prepared, we market, we invite, we even set it up as an event sometimes. That's free on your Facebook, and Apple even has a product for that. Evites are a thing. I invite other realtors, clients, anyone that I can think of, send a text in my phone, anyone that I can reach. I'm trying to get them to that open house.
Thank you, Christy. Do you
That's great
partner with
feedback. Yeah, that was great feedback. Thank you. And I never thought to invite, like send out, because I'm doing all the other things, the Facebook marketing, the Eventbrite events, the Facebook events and all that. But I never thought to send an invite like to other realtors that I know. So that would be probably my next level.
Awesome. Are you in groups? Are you in every possible group? I think we're up to 90 between the team
I
of us.
have so many. I have so many. And usually, like, I had one in Lewisburg. And so I wasn't part of any Lewisburg group. So I spent like a whole day joining every Lewisburg group I could join. And then the one in Murfreesboro, then I'm joining all the ones in, so as I have the open house scheduled, then I'll start
That's great.
joining all the groups of that local community. But now I'm up to like probably 1,000 different groups.
So doing that, putting your schedule, your open house everywhere you can. And I would also suggest, I've read a lot of statistical data. Again, I'm a numbers nerd and the statistics don't lie. I would suggest this year in 2026, for those of us that hate it, go ahead and do it. But I say we should be posting videos on our social media to remind people of those open houses. It gives us an extra opportunity to do little walkthrough social media teaser type thing and just remind everybody, hey, I've sent you guys emails, I've texted you, I've bugged you to death, but it's because I really want you to take a look at this house. And seeing is always better than assuming. So if we can get them in the door of the open house, even if they don't choose that listing, we can gain a buyer that way. So adding social media is one of my goals this year, doing the video invites as well.
One thing I would like to add, one thing that Christy did do, please don't limit yourself where you're sending this marketing. I'm going to brag on Christy because on one of her listings, she captured a buyer in Alaska. So she was able to double in that deal, and that buyer was living in Alaska. So never think that these groups that you're part of, don't limit yourself where they're located. You've got buyers wanting to come to Kentucky from California, obviously from Alaska, from all over the place. And that's one thing I think a lot of people who aren't used to listings, they want to centralize their marketing to kind of local and the next county over or just a couple of counties. I mean, she was able to help that buyer get their new home here, and I think she still has a strong relationship with it. I know her son still has a strong relationship with that buyer. So it was just really impressive to see that her marketing level reached that far.
Thank you.
Awesome. Just out of curiosity, what group was that you attracted someone like in Alaska or California?
So, Mindy, that wasn't in a group. That was our marketing. Once the algorithm picks up our feed, it spreads it. So I've had people move in, so many from California, Texas, Florida, Alaska has been the furthest. But actually, I will say my commercial land development project, I've sold commercial real estate. This are none. There are no commercial land developers that I know, that I knew that were female prior to this. The cousin of my seller saw my marketing in North Carolina, and he started sending my video content to his cousin in Corbin, Kentucky. And I worked for 8 months to not steal that listing from a separate broker, but it was because of my marketing content and the authenticity of it, the knowledge that I had. He saw my flips. He looked at my Google reviews. He looked at everything he possibly could to check me out. And it was because of that marketing and my process that I finally landed that $15 million listing in Corbin, Kentucky. So you just never know who's watching. And you never know where they're watching from, because once your views get to a certain point, and Kathleen can speak on this a lot more, she knew this and encouraged me before I ever really knew about the algorithm and how it works. She's an influencer on TikTok, and she's had great success with that. But as long as you're putting something out there, you never know when the algorithm is going to take it and send it across the United States, is what I've seen.
Got it. So it's more the videos. It's the videos that you make that gets it to California and Alaska, because those go past your Facebook friend audience.
I think it's a combination of so many different things. It's hard to pinpoint where they saw her. Some will speak freely, I saw your advertisement on this particular listing or whatever, and it's not even a focus on one particular thing.
Of course.
You just got to put it out there in every aspect. Wouldn't you agree, Christy? I mean, it's really difficult to say, oh, it came from this particular group or this video. It's just the constant publicizing of it, and that's where Christy is excellent. She just continues to go and go and go until somebody reacts and somebody responds, and that's key, I think.
I think Kathleen's right, and Mindy, to your point, it doesn't have to be real estate related, and I will just go ahead and say that it could have started as a joke, and I'm happy with that. It's like I dealt with in trucking. Who is this 5'9" blonde that thinks she knows anything about trucking? Well, let's have a conversation about trucking, and in 5 minutes, I probably know more than you do, but thank you for your sentiment. And I have that same approach. When I set my mind to something, I wanted to be in commercial development. And Kathleen can tell you, as crazy as it might have sounded to someone else, don't think your ideas are crazy. If you feel it in your spirit that this is what you want to do and this is what you're going to accomplish, don't let anyone stand in your way or discourage you, because you won't know until you try. And
Yeah.
that's, we never know what's going to work. And I don't even understand why some of my posts get thousands of views and others get 12, but I just keep posting.
I love that. I love that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of your videos. Kathleen, do you want to share, since you're a big TikTok influencer, do you want to share your link with us so we can follow you and learn
Oh, I
from you
don't
as
think I'm a
well?
big, I don't, I would never claim to be a huge influencer, but yes, I will put that out there.
Compared to
I
me,
just,
I need her autograph, because compared to me, I'm
no,
terrible
no.
on TikTok, and she has a large audience.
TikTok is definitely a different audience. It's a little more complicated, I feel. And like I said, when I was talking to Christy about it, I couldn't even recall what exactly happened, but I had posted something. This was earlier in the year. And then overnight, I gained like 8,000 followers. And I'm like, I don't even know why, So
Right.
it's just more random, I feel. But yes, definitely use all of the social media outlets you can. You can never put too much out there. And even if you don't get any engagement, continue to go. I mean, just continue to post. That's what Christy
Right.
and I have decided we're doing. Whether
And
you
don't
look at it or nobody looks at it, we're going to put it out there.
Yeah.
So,
And that's my goal too this year is
mhm.
more videos
And don't
because like she says, statistics doesn't lie. You know,
exactly.
that is where we are at nowadays is the videos in all the
Hmm.
platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. So,
And Mindy, you have a voice, whether you realize it or not. You're very engaging. You have that magnetism that people want to hear from. Anything
oh,
that you post,
Christy.
I'm paying attention.
Oh, thank you. That ain't giving me motivation right there because that's my biggest downfall is I fear what everybody thinks of me. So I think sometimes that stops me from posting. So you just gave me a
Girl,
little
we've
push
all been
there.
there. We've all, yes. Don't let anything stop you, not even yourself.
So
Yeah.
the
Amen.
big
I'm gonna write that
takeaway,
down.
the big takeaway from that is use the tools we have to find your success. Whether the tools are epic tools, whether the tools are social media tools, whether the tools are open houses, find a tool or several and figure out how to use them, learn how to use them, and then actually do the work. The success will follow. I think so many people get into this industry and they're only focused on the results. And when they don't see quick results that they want, whether it's likes and follows, whether it's calls from your YouTube videos that you've been doing for months and you still don't have a single lead, they're so focused on the results that they give up before the magic happens.
They miss the work that goes into it. Yes.
Yeah, they
It's the
quit. They quit.
looking back process that we learn the most. I know when I say it out loud, and I think one takeaway from today for me is I'm going to write down everything that we accomplished as a team in 2025. And I know that looking at that, visualizing it, I'm going to be even more motivated for 2026, because sometimes we fail to realize we only focus on what we perceive as failure versus how much we learned and who we helped. And, all of those things should count.
Absolutely. Okay, does anyone want to close us out with one last thought or question for Christy or comment?
I'd
Go
like to
ahead.
jump.
Oh,
I'd like
sorry.
to jump in on the social media real quick if I could.
Hey, Matthew.
So we talked a lot about social media, which is great. Hello, everybody. From Columbus, Ohio. I actually am from Delaware State. Moved to Columbus last year. So just want to throw out there that when you do this social media thing, the best thing that I could do is tell you to connect all of your sites together. Well, so should say like Facebook and Instagram. You should have a Facebook account for your professional account as well as an Instagram account for that same Facebook professional account and link them together, because what you post can be cross promoted in one single action, as opposed to going to your Facebook page, your professional page, your Instagram professional, and then going to TikTok. The least amount of work that you can put into it makes it easier. So link them together so you can post the same content or cross promote it, right? But the videos absolutely work. The algorithm is wild because you can have one video that gets 10 views and another video that gets 500 views, or 1,000 views or 8,000 views, and it's crazy. We don't really understand it, but the difference in content doesn't all have to be real estate related. You might go on my social media. I don't have a ton of real estate related content on my social media anymore, because when I was doing constant real estate, I wasn't getting the attraction or the attention. When I started mixing it up and putting funny stuff out there, just random bloopers type stuff, that's what got the most attention. And what I realized is I would ask people to go out and share my content. And so when I had my followers sharing my content, it was showing it to their followers and building the sphere, which then increased my following. Does that make sense? So I
Absolutely.
absolutely get that engagement. And then if you're camera shy, like I do not like being on camera. Like I'm a public speaker. I can be in front of a crowd. I can be on Zoom, but I just have this thing about being on camera, right? So what I've done is I go around, I just have my camera out all the time. Snapchat's my favorite thing to use. Filters are great. Go through and just grab pictures of everything, whether I'm driving or I'm at an event or the food. Like I'm a foodie, so I love taking pictures of videos of food that I'm eating, things like that, new restaurants. And so just get a bunch of pictures, create a video, and then look for the trending music. That's what I found is like get you the most views is create a video and then find the trending music to add to it. And so what it does is it posts your content, it links it to that song. So when somebody like, oh, I like that song, they look the song up, they might see it on somebody else's video. They click on the track and it actually shows all the videos that are linked with that track. And so just another key thing, just something small little golden nugget to add to it. If you're going to do something that's not you speaking or not with you on video, look at those trending tracks and use them.
Thank you so much for that tip. Yes, I think that's a great tip. The trending tracks, the trending memes, the trending videos, and
Yes.
utilize what other people are doing right now. That's great. Okay. Yeah.
I will say, or you can level up and be like Kathleen. She sets her own trends. I'm just saying, you don't be offended by some of our rap music on TikTok. And we don't integrate. We do have a lot of things integrated with Lofty, and I have my SEO integration with my website and Google and those things. But we are very intentional about what we integrate and what we don't, because certain platforms do better when they're set apart. In my experience, I do love the idea about the trending music because I'm just not there yet. I'm not trending yet. But I'm going to add that to my list. I'm going to take some more tips from Kathleen this year to try to set my own trending sounds or music. Hers are quite unique, and I love it.
I'm going to go check her out today. I love it.
Oh, goodness.
Well, Christy, thank you so much for being on the call today, for sharing your wisdom. You've obviously just been a rock star in this real estate industry in such a short period of time. And when I see you, I just want to tell you what I see. When I see you, I see confidence, I see commitment, dedication, and leadership. So I thank you for all you do at Epic.
Thank you for all you do, and thank everyone. I know Matt is a coach, and I know everyone on this call today. We all have leadership qualities. We wouldn't be with Epic if we didn't, in my opinion.
Exactly. It's just a matter of time, right? So,
Yeah,
okay. Well, I hope everyone has a really good weekend. This is our first call of 2026. What did the kids do? How do they do the whole like this thing, right? Yeah, I'm so old.
You're dabbing.
Yeah, this is our
everybody
first call of
knows.
2026. So I'm excited to finish this out. And everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
See you.